6 living hostages are due to be freed tomorrow, but by this time next week, phase 1 of the truce will be over. And with serious negotiations on phase 2 yet to start, the ceasefire itself might also have run its course by then. John Irvine, News at 10, Tel Aviv.
The tech company Apple has responded to pressure from our government over cybersecurity, but not in the way ministers intended. They wanted Apple to allow law enforcement special access to the files of suspected criminals like paedophiles stored in the cloud under the highest level of security. Apple refused. Today, instead, it said it would scrap the advanced security tier itself for all UK users. That, some experts say, will leave the data of Britons more vulnerable than elsewhere in the world.
The vast majority of us use our phones every single day. We all rely on data, so security and privacy matters to each and every one of us. But today, after pressure from the government, Apple has announced it will remove its highest level of data protection for UK users.
Very sad day for UK privacy and security. Apple have done effectively the only thing they could do on being asked by the UK government to undermine encryption, which is to disable it for backups across the whole UK.
Information such as photos, notes, and internet bookmarks can be stored on the cloud. Apple's advanced data protection uses a tool called end-to-end encryption to protect people's data. It essentially locks it away, and only the owner has the key to access it. The government has reportedly asked for the ability to get access to people's files through a back door. Apple have apparently said no, and instead removed the padlock altogether. They argue they wouldn't install a backdoor on their encryption tool, as it could eventually be accessed and used by bad actors. And those we asked today outside the Apple store in London were quite concerned.
You have everything on your iPhone, so that's quite scary.
Should protect our data, protect our phones, protect all of our bank accounts. You know, that's not good. It's not good.
The government had argued that end-to-end encryption was being used by criminals to hide their activities online, and that having access to it would make us safer. Now files will be accessible to Apple and shareable with law enforcement through a warrant.
What's going to happen is there's going to be a massive debate with the privacy lobby, and understandably so, because many people will rely upon end-to-end encryption to be able to engage safely and be able to share legal but sensitive personal material.
This is essentially a standoff between Apple and the government. The tech giant says they are disappointed by all of this and regret the action that has been taken. They say enhancing security is more urgent than ever before, and hope that they'll be able to offer the highest level of security in the UK in the future. Shihab Khan, News at 10.
A Polish woman accused of tormenting the family of Madeleine McCann by claiming to be Madeleine has been charged with stalking. Julia Wandel is alleged to have turned up at the family home twice last year, phoned and WhatsApped Kate and Jerry McCann, and sent Instagram messages to their twins. It took a jury in New York State less than 2 hours to deliver a guilty verdict on the man charged with trying to stab the author Sir Salman Rushdie to death. That's how long it took them to assess 2 weeks of evidence. Hadi Matar had climbed onto a stage where Sir Salman was giving a talk and stabbed him over and over again. Sir Salman lost an eye and almost lost his life. Matar will be sentenced for attempted murder in April.
It was the moment Sir Salman Rushdie's life changed forever. Stabbed multiple times in broad daylight while he delivered a lecture in New York State 2.5 years ago. The renowned author survived, but suffered a number of serious injuries. Now the man who carried out the attack, Hadi Matar, has been convicted of attempted murder. The jury taking less than 2 hours to reach their verdict.
We've already gone through the injuries. We're all familiar with those injuries. Let's not forget he's an elderly man, and he still to this day is experiencing significant difficulties, on his life because of this attack. And he could have died. He easily could have bled out on stage.
Sir Salman has spoken publicly about the ordeal, which left him blind in one eye.
I confess I had sometimes imagined my assassin rising up in some public forum or other and coming for me in just this way. So my first thought when I saw this murderous shape rushing towards me was, so it's you.
He was stabbed more than a dozen times.
He basically hit me very hard here. And initially I thought I'd been punched. And I didn't realize until I saw blood coming out that there had been a knife in his fist.
Salman Rushdie spent many years in fear of his life. His book, The Satanic Verses, was deemed blasphemous by some Muslim clerics. It led to Iran's then leader, Ayatollah Khomeini, to issue a fatwa, an order that he should be killed. He spent 9 years in hiding before returning to public life.
Normality is a very simple thing, and yet it's the thing that I've been denied.
All these years on, after an attack which nearly cost him his life, he can at least be safe in the knowledge tonight that the man who carried it out is facing a long prison sentence. Mark McQuillan, News at 10.
A week after going into hospital, the Pope told his doctors in the Vatican to let the outside world know how he's doing. His pneumonia isn't life-threatening, they told a news conference. The stronger drugs they're giving him are working, but he's not out of danger yet. They said most 88-year-olds with what he's got would stay at home and watch television in a rocking chair. The Pope, his doctors insisted, isn't like that. He keeps going.
The hospital where Pope Francis is being cared for became an extra but obvious stop for these pilgrims during their trip to Rome. He was admitted after this meeting exactly a week ago and later diagnosed with pneumonia in both lungs. Today, the doctors treating him told a packed room of journalists that they were closely monitoring the infection in case it spreads into his bloodstream.
Ma la domanda è: il Papa è fuori pericolo?
But the question is the Pope out of danger? No, the Pope is not out of danger. And the door is open to both possibilities, because such an important infection with so many microbes, and then an appearance of bilateral pneumonia in a man who we see walks little, is in a wheelchair, and who is 88 years old.
But there was also a sense of calm from the medics, who even lightened the mood by sharing jokes the Pope had cracked.
Santo figlio, ecco, per farvi capire.
Despite a reassuring tone from doctors in the press conference earlier and updates from the Vatican over the last couple of days pointing to slight improvements in the Pope's condition, there have been conversations and questions about whether his health is a reason he should consider resigning. The last Pope, Benedict XVI, broke centuries of tradition to become the first in modern times to step down from the role. His decision means a precedent has been set, and cardinals are now discussing whether Pope Francis could do the same.
It is a question that he will ask himself more than we will. A question about eventual resignation that could be triggered.
The Pope will spend at least another week in hospital. While that may cause concern, today's announcement appeared to make sure the focus remains on his recovery, not his replacement. Ellie Pitt, News at 10, Rome.
A short break in tonight's News at 10, but after that, helping blind children see the pioneering British treatment that's already changed lives and see what you're missing? We're with the workmates of the electrician who was working here on Tuesday but could spark a world boxing upset tomorrow in Riyadh. We'll be back with those reports and more in a few short moments.
Great result.
Thanks, Peter. Coming up, we have League Action live on Friday night, followed by 3 more games live on Saturday, then 2 more massive games live on Sunday, and don't forget League Action live on Monday night. Then it's over to Europe for the big one, live on Tuesday, then the even bigger one, live on Wednesday, then it's the other Europe.
Sometimes a break isn't a bad idea. So, if ever you want to take time out from betting, use Paddy Power's Take a Break tool to pause your account. Paddy Power.
Welcome back. Campaigning for